Come on, everybody. Let's go. Get ready for a summertime adventure from another Sommer-Time story. This is the story of No One Will Ever Know, written and told by award-winning author Carl Sommer.
Once there were two happy little squirrels named Johnny and Janie. They lived with their dad and mom inside a large tree at the edge of a beautiful forest. Their friends Teddy and Tammy often came to visit. How they loved to play their favorite game, tree tag. Up and down the trees they raced, jumping across the branches. All the squirrels were very fast, but no one could catch Johnny. He was the fastest. One day, some older squirrels stopped by. "Why do you kids stay here eating those small acorns?" yapped the big squirrels rather roughly. "We know a special place that has the biggest and most delicious acorns you have ever tasted." Then one of them pulled out a giant acorn. "Wow!" said the young squirrels. Acorns were their favorite food. "Woo-wee!" Johnny yelled. "That's the biggest acorn I've ever seen. Where did you find it?" "Across the meadow and over the fence of Mr. Smith's farm," answered the oldest squirrel. Johnny moaned. "We can't go there." "Why not?" asked the big squirrels. "No one will ever know." Janie spoke up. "Dad and Mom say it's dangerous. They say a big, bad wolf might get us." "Go ahead," teased the older squirrels. "Stay in your little yard and eat your tiny acorns." They rubbed their tummies and laughed. "We'll be at Mr. Smith's farm eating those big, delicious acorns." With a bounce, they hurried off. Why did Johnny and Jamie say they couldn't go there? Jocelyn?
Because it's dangerous and a big bad wolf might get them.
Yes, Dad and Mom warned them it was going to be very dangerous and that a big bad wolf might come. But now notice the peer pressure from these older squirrels. And what did these older squirrels say? Claire?
Go ahead, stay in your little yard and eat your little acorns.
Yeah, go ahead. They're teasing them. Go ahead. Eat your tiny acorns. We're going to fill our bellies up with these nice, delicious acorns. That was their favorite food. That was yummy, yummy food. Now, you might like ice cream or whatever your favorite dessert is. That was their yummy food, all right? And they're teasing them. And that's what happens with peer pressure, all right? What are some of the words that people use that get you to do things that are bad? Deshaun?
A wimp.
A wimp. Another one. Jocelyn?
Baby.
Another name? Yes, Emma?
Dummy.
Another name?
A chicken.
A chicken. That's a good one that they use. Oh, come on, chicken. All right, these are some of the names. And another name? Claire?
Scaredy cat.
Scaredy cat. These are some of the names. And it's just to make you feel, oh, but what is that two-letter word you should say? What?
No!
Right. Learn to say that. You'll avoid many, many problems. Johnny wanted to be like the older squirrels. He spun his cap around and said to Janie, "Why don't we go there just once?" "And disobey Dad and Mom?" Janie asked. "That's not right." "If we don't tell anyone," Johnny argued, "no one will ever know." Teddy and Tammy liked Johnny's idea. "We could go late at night after our parents go to sleep," said Tammy. "Yeah," shouted Teddy, "but let's wait until there's a full moon so we can see better." "But what about that big bad wolf?" asked Janie. "He scares me." "We'll be real quiet," said Johnny. "I'm sure the wolf will be sleepy." Finally, they all agreed. They could not wait until they could eat those big, delicious acorns. Notice another very big problem here. Johnny wants to be like who? Isaiah?
He wants to be like the other big squirrels.
Yes, he wants to be like the older squirrels. And that was what motivated him. He takes his cap, spins it around, right? Imitating others. Be yourself. Do what's right. Just don't follow the crowd. But that's he wants to be. He wants to be like them. And let's see what's going to happen now. At last it came, the night of a bright, full moon. Johnny and Janie ate very little for supper that evening. Why aren't you eating? Asked Mom. Well, we're not hungry, Johnny lied. He and Janie did not want to eat too much. Tonight they were going to fill their tummies with big, delicious acorns. We find in the story that Johnny and Janie are not eating. So Mom looks at them and says, why are you not eating? And what does Johnny say? Mercy?
He lied and said we're not hungry.
We find here that Johnny lied saying, I'm not hungry. But you know, it's a dangerous thing when you become known as a liar, because once you become known as a liar, you can't be trusted anymore. And that becomes your reputation. So learn to always tell the truth. After the meal, Johnny and Janie played in the yard. When Mom called out, bedtime, they quickly went inside and climbed into bed. That's strange, Dad said to Mom. They always want to stay up longer. But tonight they went to bed right away. Maybe, said Mom, they are learning that it is best for them to obey. Soon the house became very quiet. Dad and Mom were sound asleep, but not Johnny and Janie. They were too excited. It seemed like forever, but finally Janie heard a whistle. Janie whispered, Psst, Johnny, I think I hear them. They jumped out of bed and ran to the window. There stood Teddy and Tammy waving to them in the bright moonlight. Very quietly they climbed out the window. Shh, whispered Johnny. We don't want to wake up Dad or Mom. Okay, said Janie very softly. Without a sound, they eased down the tree and climbed over the fence to meet Teddy and Tammy. Everyone had waited so long for this night. Finally, they were happily on their way. The young squirrels laughed and talked about how much fun they were going to have eating those big, delicious acorns. They were especially glad for the two older squirrels who had told them about Mr. Smith's farm. How do these squirrels feel now? All right, Juliet?
Very, very happy.
Yes, they're very, very happy. They're excited. Now, their parents told them, don't go because of that big bad wolf might be there. But now they are happy. They couldn't be any happier now. They're going to eat those big, delicious acorns. Wowee! Are they ever happy? But you know, that's the wisdom of parents. They can see things that you don't see. And they'll tell you to do certain things because they know what will happen if you don't listen. And so if you're smart, you'll trust your parents when they tell you things. They didn't trust their parents. They're smarter than their parents. No, we're going to go out. And let's see what happens now. Suddenly, Janie froze. She saw something through the trees. Stop, she cried. Someone is watching us. Janie was so afraid she began to shake. Where? Asked Johnny. Over there, whispered Janie as he pointed at two beady eyes glowing in the dark. Now they all were scared and shaky. Let's go back, begged Tammy. Then Johnny and Teddy saw the eyes move. They knew who it was. Don't be afraid, laughed Johnny. Teddy giggled. That's just an old owl. They tiptoed under the tree, and sure enough, there he was, Mr. Owl, quietly sitting on a limb. See, teased Johnny and Teddy, we told you. Mr. Owl was surprised to see the young squirrels out so late. Whoa, said Mr. Owl. Do your parents know where you are? Yes, of course, Johnny lied. They said we could go to Mr. Smith's farm. Ignoring the wise old owl, they quickly went on their way. What is Johnny doing now again? Noah?
He's lying.
He's lying. Because if you tell one lie, it's easy to tell number 2, number 3, number 4, because you're a liar. And so here's Mr. Owl. Does your parents know? Oh, yeah, they know where we're going. And so be careful to be a person of truth. Finally, they reached the farm. As the hungry squirrels jumped onto the fence, their mouths fell open. Wow, Tammy yelled. Look at those big acorns. They could not believe their eyes. What are we waiting for? Shouted Teddy. In a flash, they dove for the acorns. The squirrels began munching. Never had they tasted such delicious acorns. They laughed and shouted to each other. These are the best acorns in the whole world. They ate and ate and ate till their tummies could hold no more. Now the young squirrels were so stuffed they could hardly move. I'm full, moaned Johnny. So am I, said Janie. We better get back home before Dad and Mom find out we're gone. They tumbled over the fence and began to waddle back to their homes. How do these squirrels feel now? Miguel?
They're happy because they're stuffed with acorns.
Yes, they're very, very happy. Their dream has come true. They had the most delicious meal that they ever had. Uh-oh. Let's see what happens now to these squirrels. The chubby squirrels did not realize it, but all their whooping and hollering had stirred someone from his sleep. Now, that someone was hungry, and he was creeping up on them. As the slow-going squirrels reached the open field, out from the bushes sprang the big bad wolf. Wolf! Janie yelled. The big bad wolf! Off they ran as fast as their little legs could take them, which was not very fast since their tummies were so full. The squirrels scattered in 4 directions. Since the wolf could not chase all of them, he ran after the closest one, Johnny. Johnny ran as fast as he could, but tonight the wolf was faster. Johnny ran toward the nearest tree. The wolf drew closer and closer. Johnny almost made it, but just as he reached the tree, the wolf jumped at Johnny with his big jaws open wide. Ouch! Screamed Johnny. Meanwhile, the others were so scared they raced home as fast as they could. When Janie got home, she ran into the house crying, Dad, Mom, the big bad wolf! Dad jumped up. What? What's going on? With tears in her eyes, Janie quickly told them what had happened. Unfortunately, there are wolves around us that want to hurt children. What are some of the wolves that we have today? All right, Jocelyn?
Gangs.
Gangs. What else? Mercy.
Drug dealers.
Okay, Emma.
Bad friends.
Okay, Olivia.
Strangers.
Yes, strangers, gangs, and drug dealers, and all these kind of things. And we have to be careful. And all these people are out for their own welfare. They don't care about you. And we have to learn to listen to our parents, because sometimes there's these people that in our school, when you go to school, they might be in your neighborhood, and they want you to start to smoke. They might give you pills. They might want you to try drugs like marijuana, and then even harder stuff. So learn to listen to your parents to avoid these strangers and these wolves who want to attack you. But where's Johnny? Asked Dad and Mom. Janie shook her head. I don't know. I saw the wolf chasing him, and then I heard him scream, ouch! Dad rushed to the window. There was no wind, and the full moon lit up the night. Dad listened and strained his eyes looking for Johnny. Finally, he turned around and with tears in his eyes said, I don't hear him or see him. Mom hugged Janie as they cried. I'm going to search for him, said Dad. I want you to notice something here. Everyone's crying. A lot of times children don't realize how much your parents really love you. I love my children greatly, and sometimes they don't realize that. And I hope you see this here, and you are listening to watching this video, will realize your parents love you. There's no one that loves you more in this world than your parents. So learn to listen to them. They want what's best for you. They didn't listen. Now they're in a lot of trouble. Let's see what happens now. Dad hurried, jumping from tree to tree. He met Mr. Owl. Have you seen Johnny? I heard a scream from over there, said Mr. Owl. As Dad leaped to the top of a big oak tree, he heard someone crying. Could it be my Johnny, Dad wondered? With lightning speed, he flew from branch to branch. Soon he came to a tree by the edge of the meadow. Dad jumped onto a limb and spotted a scared little squirrel sitting on a branch, shaking and crying. Johnny, shouted Dad. Johnny ran to Dad and cried, the wolf bit off my tail. Dad wrapped his arms around Johnny and held him tight. I'm so glad you're alive. After making sure the wolf was gone, Dad took Johnny home. Mom was staring out the window when Dad and Johnny came weaving through the trees. Janie, Mom shouted. They're here! Janie jumped up and down for joy. When Dad and Johnny came to the door, Mom and Janie met them with big hugs and kisses. While Mom bandaged his tail, Johnny told everyone how he was chased by the wolf. Then he groaned, oh, if only I had run faster. This never would have happened. No, Johnny, said Dad. If only you had listened to us, this never would have happened. But Johnny still was not listening. He was mad at himself for not running faster. Now, I wrote this story, and I told the artist, I want you to make Johnny with no tail. Now, I could have had the wolf strip the tail, and the tail will grow back again, but I didn't. Why? Deshaun?
Because there's some things in life you cannot recover from.
Yes, that's a very good answer, Deshaun, because there's some things in life you can never recover from. Just like your parents tell you, look both ways before you cross the street, and some foolish children don't listen. I never forget, I saw one of my grandchildren run across a highway without looking. Oh, did I get on him for that? I tried to scare him a little bit to realize what could have happened. Because if you run out in the road and a car hits you, they can run over your legs that you'll never walk again. They can hit you in the head where you can't even think anymore, right? You're an invalid the rest of your life just because you ran into the street and hit a car. And so that's why I had Johnny's tail bit off by the big bad wolf, because there's some things that happen when you disobey and do bad things, you can never recover from it. Oh, yes, I could have stripped off the tail and Johnny's tail grew again, but that's not real life. This is real life. This is what does happen. It's not nice, but I'm trying to teach boys and girls that one simple truth: always listen to your parents. You'll avoid many, many problems. As the days passed, Johnny's tail got better. However, with such a short tail, he could not balance himself well. Now he was no longer the fastest at tree tag, he was the slowest. Word of what happened spread throughout the forest until everyone knew about it. Meanwhile, Johnny thought much about how he had lost his tail. Mr. Wise Owl came to visit Johnny. "I'm sorry to hear what happened," he said. "Well," mumbled Johnny, "that's one time I should have listened to my dad and mom." "Johnny," answered the Wise Owl, "you should always listen to your dad and mom. They love you and they know what's best for you." "But it doesn't always seem right," said Johnny. "You need to trust them," explained Mr. Owl. "You will find it's always best to obey." Johnny thought for a while. Suddenly his eyes lit up. "Now I understand. If I trust them, then it only makes sense to obey." What did Mr. Owl tell Johnny he should do? Yes, Claire?
He should always trust his parents.
Yes, he should always trust his parents. And that's the big word there, to trust them. You believe in them. And not think that you're smarter than your parents. You trust them. They're finally, oh, yes. If I trust them, it only makes sense to obey. And that's really true. Johnny's forest friends came to see him. He told them all about the big bad wolf. When he was finished, he pointed to his short tail and said, "I was foolish for listening to others." From then on, Johnny listened to Dad and Mom. And in spite of his short tail, he became a very happy squirrel. And most of all, he was glad to learn to disobey is wrong, even when you think no one will ever know.
And now, an award-winning song from Character Kids.